working with teams and with leaders, you got a lot of successful people who are very successful in life. They got the big car, the nice suit, the nice watch. Everything looks super. But when you look behind the doors, with the wife, it's not going good. With the children, it's not going good. All of their time is getting sucked into the job. They don't have any time for themselves. They get stressed out, they get burned out, or they get a heart failure, or they get sick. I would suggest for those people too, just to make the mental exercise. If you see your skills as a leader or as a corporate leader, it doesn't matter, everything that holds, the car, the function that you have, what you do every day, if you visualize that as a suit, take off the suit.
Hello, Cedric.
Hello, Bernard.
Thanks for coming over. I got to know about you because of 2 podcasts that I saw. There is not a book yet from you, but I think you have more than enough experience and expertise in the matter we want to talk about, that I am very happy you're here. And let me start right off with asking a question, maybe a kind of unusual question, but do you have like a favorite uncle or aunt, or at least you're a favorite for them?
Okay, Bernard, thank you for having me. Very specific question that I have to reflect about. There's not one person that jumps out for the moment, but if I have to go back into the past, my grandparents were inspiring for me. Just the simplicity. I think sometimes we lack it today. Everything's overcomplicated. Everything's on the internet, hyper-connected. Everything goes super fast. When I reflect on my granddad, who's sadly deceased, when I saw the simplicity in their life, enjoyed the small things, working in the garden. He was a lover of birds, the simple things in life, but they were very happy. I think we can draw some lessons from there. So that was inspiring for me.
Okay, it was inspiring, but in a way, the reason why I asked it is, let's say I could meet them today, tomorrow.
Okay.
And I could ask them, can you draw me a picture of Cedric when he was 10, 12, 14 years old, let's say, a young kid?
Yeah.
What do you think they would come up with?
I think I didn't have a very big family, so I think you would have to ask my mother or my father.
Okay.
But I think they would say I have a very good childhood. I had everything I wanted. There were no, big obstacles in the way. I had friends. Had a normal childhood. Just Smallville where I grew up. So nothing very important there. Not a care in the world, just to say it like that. So everything was smooth and easy. I was happy. I was always trying to make people laugh. Something that still stands till today. I think if I see happy people around me, it gives me energy.
Yeah.
So I think those were the key takeaways that my mother would tell you. Yeah.
Okay. So in a way, nothing would stand out.
No, until we go into my teenage years. When we go into my teenage years, there was something that changed a lot for me, especially because I wasn't physically one of the best. I was overweighted, and that was a determining factor for me for what would later on be my career or my choices in life. Because I got easily picked on. I think that's normal. It's not a single standing story. I think that's something that happens to other children too, getting bullied because of your overweight. That got spiraled into a height for me at a certain stage. I was in a movement for children, and we had a 4-day hike that we went on a tour. So it was every day with your own backpack, hiking for at least 25 to 30 kilometers. And after day 2, I quit because I was overweighted. I wasn't physically well. So my head told me to shut down. It was finished. Didn't want the pain anymore. Not knowing the impact that would have afterwards. So I just stopped. I quit it, but the pain started afterwards because I always got picked on again. Hey, that was the fat kid that stopped. That was the fat kid that can't do that. That was always coming back to me till something snapped. And that was the changing point in my youth. Something snapped that I said internally, nobody is ever going to laugh with me again. This is where I draw the line. It was an emotional switch where I changed a lot. I changed physically, I changed mentally, and it would determine a lot of my later choices in life.
So when you say I changed physically, does that mean you started doing sports and working out and
Yeah.
things like that?
I had to lose weight. I started lifting weights for losing weight.
Yeah.
I started running. I started swimming. Everything with one purpose. I wanted to become physically in shape. I wanted to become unbeatable. I never wanted that pain again from stopping. The pain that always stick to me. I never wanted that again.
Wow. Okay. The example that comes to mind for me is Goggins.
Yeah. That's another level.
Yeah. But what? Because it's not often that you hear that somebody who is not in sports, in a way, all of a sudden drastically goes full on in sport.
But I think it's logical because a lot of people who are in sports, they've got exposure to the media.
Yeah.
They talk a lot. They see other examples of people in sports coming out with a story. When you come from a military background or a special units background, it's custom to live in a closed world.
Yeah.
In America, it's quite the habit, and you see it often now. People coming out with their stories, ex-Navy SEALs, ex-Delta Force. In Holland, you see it too. In Belgium, practically none.
Yeah.
And I think that's why you don't see it as much, that story, just because it's not known, but it's there. I'm sure that if you look at a lot of gyms too, a lot of people with complexes from their youth are training there now.
Yeah.
I'm certain of that.
Yeah. So that, first of all, you wanted to get fit. So when did you start thinking, or how did you come about thinking going in military or police? Or
that was it goes hand in hand, because I got bullied on. I got a sort of a complex in my head, so I had to choose a job that was in line with the new personality that I wanted to become. So I wanted to become strong, invincible. So I think it's logical that you search for a job which got a lot of appearance, a lot of appeal to other people, but also something that's adventurous, because I like adventure. And it was at those days, they had a show on Belgian television, Windkracht 10, about the search and rescue squad in Kokzijde, flying with the seeking helicopters.
Yeah.
I used to watch that program. And when you see that diver coming down on that winch, rescuing people and being the hero of the day, it was a no-brainer for me. That was what I wanted to become and what I would become. So I put my mindset on that. So next to the physical aspect, I wanted to become somebody people could look up to. I wanted to inspire people at that moment too. So all said and done, when I was 18 years old, because my college was something completely different. I was studying to be an electrician. I think it's a bit old school. In those days, you had or you needed some kind of degree to move on in life, especially when you're not studying or you're not planning to study. So for me, when I was 18, it was decided. I just stopped. I started my requests at the CRS in Brussels, recruitment and selection for the military, with one specific objective. I wanted to become a rescue diver at the 40th Squadron in Kokzijde. So I applied, I ran the tests, I got quite far, everything was good, but at a certain moment, I got a paper in front of me saying my eyes were not good enough or not strong enough, so it was not achievable for me. So, and that was a crossroad again for me in my life, being there at the center in Brussels. You get that paper with no plan B.
Wow.
But one of the people there of the recruitment, they told me, your physical tests were quite good. If you want, you can go to another office here in the building where they do the recruitment for paracommandos. So if that would be something for you, it's easy to apply. all said and done, I just did it. I walked down the hall, another office, where I found an old instructor who was sitting there at his desk, asking me if I wanted to apply. It was a very easy conversation. I had to close the door. He told me, behind your head, there's a pull-up bar. Just give me 10 pull-ups. I did it. That was sufficient. And I could apply to start the testing for Paracommando. So that's how I rolled in over there. So it's quite the adventure, but not really a plan. I did not have a roadmap already. I just wanted... One thing was quite clear. The objective of I wanted to become somebody who people could look up to.
Yeah.
That was like the thread. So I went and became Paracommando, did my basic instructions over there. And there I got in touch with people from Belgium Special Units, from the Federal Police. I got in touch with them because they were lending a hand at climbing courses over there. And they were running their own, I think, little recruitment show. So they inspired me a lot. And after some reflection, after they told me what they did for a job, I found it very inspiring. And so I changed course again. That looked like something I really, really wanted to do, so I did it. So, but before you enter, you have to enter the police. So you have to do your basic instructions. So there's quite some timing in between, but I did my basic instruction. After my basic instruction, you got posted in Brussels, where you come to a service where you have to guard embassies. I did that. That was very exciting, not? So I was looking forward to the moment that they were drafting for the special units. Till that moment came, and I was 21, the youngest at that moment, still today. And the rest is history. Then I started my career at special units at 21.
Wow. So that's in a way already huge jumps for what I could hear from your youth, where you were the easygoing kid, to, in a way, a person that looks to solve problems in the street, in a way. That's quite a difference. That's quite a straight way to the jungle, so to speak. So
definitely.
Once you got there and you get in your job, then maybe what we can do is talk about what made you stop that career, because you now told me how you got in there. What made you stop, and then maybe through the conversation we can come back and forth.
Okay, no problem.
So what made you say, okay, this is a turning point?
Two phases in that story. The first phase is my operational career was divided in two big parts. First part, for over 10 years, I was an assaulter, working as, let's say, boots on the ground. The other 10 years, I was a team leader, still boots on the ground, but you're trying to guide your team into certain situations. I did that. That was the time of my life, to be honest. But that I had to quit. I had to be honest with myself. I quit. I said stop, because the wear and tear of the years, my neck was badly damaged. My lower back was badly damaged. So you have to be honest with yourself at certain moments that you become a liability for your team. You have to be honest. You have to put a step aside. And also, I wanted to leave with my, how should I say, definitely not my ego, but my status intact. I always took care of my people. I tried to do the best I can. Of course, there were faults. It was trial and error, of course. But I wanted to leave in a fashion that it could always be returned, always could return, be respected too. So I didn't want to fade out, just like a candle. So that was my first time I had to jump again after 20 years. So 20 years that you're used to something, an environment, a team, a family. I can call it like that. It was a family where I functioned in, and I functioned in very well. Okay, but then you change and you have to look. Then I looked for another job within the police. I can't go into details on that, but I looked for another job, and it was a complete changing environment of team, of people you are working with, other mindsets, a whole other ball game. It was quite busy because for the 20 years that I worked, we also had a page duty that they could page us, that they could call us back. It was always very intense, late hours, early mornings, never knowing when you could get home. But in those last 2 years, that was upgraded again. I was practically never at home. I didn't see my kids, didn't see my wife. Got sucked in completely into that job, got into a tunnel, lost vision of all the rest of the things that concerned me, until at one point, one of my sons, got 5-year-old at that time, got very sick. He caught a meningitis and a sepsis on top of it. So from one day on another, we were standing next to his bed. We could lose him.
Wow.
I got a call from my wife. He just to give you the complete story and to take you into the emotion. He woke me up in the middle of the night. It was 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. He got a fever. He was sick. But I think every parent knows children of that age, they get fever. So what do? You get him up, you put him in the couch, you put on some TV, you get next to him, take care of him, give him some painkillers. And till 8 o'clock, I was off to work again. Earlier, 6 o'clock, I was gone, but my wife was there. And she called the doctor. We had an appointment in the afternoon. But during the day, he was going from, I'm not going to say good, but it was acceptable, to going worse and worse and worse and worse. At that moment, it was her gut instinct, mother instinct, that took over. She said, I'm not going to wait for the doctor. I'm taking him to the first aid hub, and she left with him. And that saved his life, to make a long story short. When she got to the first aid in Tielt, he was going into shock, because she called me afterwards too. I turned my car around, went to the hospital immediately. When I arrived, he was going into shock. I could see it to the parameters. They already called UZ Hand, a specialized team from the Children's Hospital, to pick him up. Then they took him from the hospital in Tielt to Hand. That was the longest 45 minutes of my life, where you have to drive in your car, not knowing, not having any means of communication at that moment of, is my son going to be alive or not? Then you arrive there, they're working on him, doing everything they can. He was over 3 days, I think, under high doses of morphine that he was completely under. He was there for 10 days. I didn't leave his bedside. And the first moments, the only thing the doctor said was, we did all we can. Now it's he who's got to fight. Now it's he who's got to be strong. So I didn't left his bed at that time. For 10 days, I was next to his bed from morning to evening and nights. And that gave me a lot of time to reflect on life, to reflect on, what the hell am I doing? Where are my priorities? And who am I? Where do I need to be? Who do I have to be? So that was for me. Afterwards, he came out, and it was a good ending. It didn't leave any traces, not permanent traces.
Good for you.
So we got very lucky, because I know there are other cases out there who didn't get so lucky. All the more reason to be thankful and to start shifting things in life. But I needed, a figure of speaking, a kick in the ass to get me confronted with those things. So that was the second phase in my life, and I just quit one day at another. I stopped working at the police because it sucked up all my time that I wanted to give to other people, give to my children, give to my wife. Not meaning that I don't ever want to work again, but it's going to be on my terms. And I don't want my children to grow up like my father was the piggy bank, okay? He's got the money, but we never saw him. So that's something I don't want. That's the biggest shift I had at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
So I jumped into another world.
Wow. Yeah. Well, it is a story. But so then it's okay, not this anymore.
No.
But what are we gonna do now?
I had a passion. I know everybody talking about living your passion. That's not the way I want to go, but there are certain things you are drawn to in life. And when I make the analysis afterwards, the best time I had was the 20 years that I worked in the arrest team from the special units. And if I reflect on that, there were certain key elements that were in position that made me feel good. That made sure that I grew every day again, that I evolved. And when I look at that, it was working with people who want to work, happy people, positive people, a good team experience, and we're all go-getters. But it's not specifically to the persons, but it's the environment that you create. It's the culture that you create. Because if you have 9 or 10 people with those standards and you bring in somebody new, no matter the background, no matter how old, he's going to suck it up like a sponge and he will also be in that environment. So that's something that I always liked. The second thing that I always liked was teaching people. It was in the police schools that I gave teachings. I gave teachings within the special units too, different layers going from inspectors to officers. Didn't matter, but I liked it. I liked it a lot, helping people. In a not that conventional way. I was not the teacher with the whiteboards and with the stick. I did it in an unconventional way, trying to explain with hands and feet and make it with energy. That something sticks, giving people insights. That was very important. It was not the theoretical stuff. I wanted to give people insights. Once you understand it, you will apply it. So that's the second thing that I liked a lot. And if you put those two things together with teams, inspiring people, giving insights, then it was for me a no-brainer. I come from a very closed world. For over 22 years, I've gained very, very valuable lessons in those worlds. I was placed in environments where most people won't ever get access to. Very extreme environments, life-threatening environments, always under high pressure, uncertainty, having to make decisions, difficult calls, keeping your people on board, keeping them motivated without means, without recognition. We never got it.
Yeah.
But we got that team and we got those principles and we got that culture. Those are universal things that I now can apply to team performance.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what playground you're in, no matter what platform. Is it in business? Is it in a small sports team? I don't care. Once you work with a team, you got somebody responsible for that team, then we can work together. And that's what I do now. I'm working on team performance, making sure that teams and leaders work as one together with the right principles, the right methods drawn from 22 years of extreme experience.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And doing that gives again the opportunity to have a life that is in balance, right? Or
absolutely, it is very challenging. So you need, how to say, a solid stomach to make that jump, because I think if we look at a lot of people these days, ex-colleagues too, once you leave the team that we had such good times, and I hear a lot of colleagues now who are not that happy anymore, but the restraint is there, or the fear just to step out and to say, hey, I'm going to do something else. Why? Because every month you got your paycheck. No matter what. You got a good pension. You work for the state. You got certainty. If you get sick, if I get run over tomorrow, they will take care of me. So you need something that is, and that's what happened to me with my son, that it was not escaping the cage, it was rattling the cage till it fell open. So that happened with my son, that I got very clear what I wanted. And then I always had the principle in my life, if you want something, if you want to take the island, burn the boats. There's no plan B, there's no backup. You're not going back, you're going straight forward. I've got my goals so clear now in every phase of my life. Is it in the partner that I want to be for my wife? Is it in the father that I want to be? Is it in the friend that I want to be? Is it in the mentor that I want to be for the people that I work with? Those are the goals. Those are the objectives. I will do everything in my power to get there, and all the rest, I don't need it. It's distraction. I get it out of the picture. So even if it's challenging money-wise, because you jump in, I will get there. I will find a way or make a way. I know it sounds cliche, but it works. If you put your mind to it and you take action, because I believe in affirmations. Mm-hmm. If you put them to the right way of using them, because a lot of people, if I think tomorrow, with it's dry and hot weather now, if I think my grass is gonna be green, my grass is gonna be green. It's not gonna change overnight. Yeah, no. But it's the same with an affirmation. If I say I am going that way and I will achieve, then I will do it because I take the actions necessary to get there.
Yes,
and that's the big difference, and that's, I think, is the biggest shift that I made is I made the shift to become who I have to become again, to be fulfilled for myself, but also to be an example for my children, to be there for my wife. And that makes me happy.
Yeah.
It was a transition. It didn't happen overnight. And I felt the pain, of course.
Yeah.
I felt anxiety. I felt pain, of course. But it's all stories made in our head.
Yeah.
And once you get that, it's just default programming.
Yeah.
That's not fit anymore for these days. So you have to delete it.
Yeah.
And put in a new program.
Yeah. Are there... I cannot agree more. But for our listeners and our viewers, the way you say it, it's said with so much determination that for you, people might think like, well, yeah, for a personality like him, of course, but we're not like that. So what would be your advice to where do they start?
They start with the sentence you just said. I'm not like him. Why not? That's already a story that you're putting in your head, and you will act accordingly. So it's so easy in life. Okay, I needed a small beating through what happened to my son to see my vision clear, where I wanted to go, what my goals are. But I would suggest for everybody to start reflecting on that. Start reflecting, what do I want in this life? Because everybody knows what they don't want. But if you ask, what do you really want? Then the next thing you hear is, So I think that is the challenge, because once you determine or you get clear what you want, it's so clear. If you got an objective, to work towards it. Don't look at the top of the hill. You don't have to do it. But once you got an objective and you put it into smaller phases, just work from phase to phase. Just get better every day. And once you reach the top of the hill, hey, it's going down and it's going to be another hill.
Yeah.
You're never finished. But it has to be in line with things that make you happy. It's not living my passion in a fluffy way, but it's giving back. It's being complete, being in line with yourself. So the advice I would give is reflect on that. Reflect on that. Strip yourself of all the rest. We were talking about it earlier. The thing that I tell for a lot of people that I get confronted with these days, working with teams and with leaders, you got a lot of successful people who are very successful in life. They got the big car, the nice suit, the nice watch. Everything looks super. But when you look behind the doors, with the wife, it's not going good. With the children, it's not going good. All of their time is getting sucked into the job. They don't have any time for themselves. They get stressed out, they get burned out, or they get a heart failure, or they get sick. I would suggest for those people too, just to make the mental exercise. If you see your skills as a leader or as a corporate leader, it doesn't matter, everything that holds, the car, the function that you have, what you do every day, if you visualize that as a suit, take off the suit. Who am I seeing now? What remains when we strip it? Because that could fall away tomorrow. If they put in a younger CEO, or I don't know, something like that, or you get an accident or something else. What's your vision? What's your line? Where do you want to go? What are your goals in life? The real goals.
Yeah. And also, what do you know about yourself that are strong points?
Reflection is very important.
Yeah.
And that's something that doesn't come overnight too. I was the first, if you would tell me 7 years ago that I will have a diary that I write in every day to reflect on everything that happens, I would say, hey, you're crazy. Never gonna do that. It's one of the first things that I picked up. To learn about yourself, to discover your patterns that return, sometimes at our blind spot. And you think you are the only one in the world having those. No, it's a pattern. It's patterns programmed in here.
Yeah.
And once you discover that those are patterns, that you can bring them back to your reptile brain, in fact, how we are programmed to function, then you can see, hey, it's just a voice in my head. I'm not listening to that. I'm going to tame that voice. I'm going to take the necessary steps. I'm going to move forward.
In one of your podcasts, you give that voice a name.
Absolutely. Gino.
Yeah. Marvelous idea. But please tell that to our audience.
Just to make it more tangible for everybody and hang in there. I'm not getting fluffy here. I'm not going to start floating away. But in fact, if you look at it from a scientifically backed view, everybody got a voice in their head. That's normal. It's not that I'm going psycho or something, but it's the voice telling you in the morning, yeah, I'm gonna snooze for another 5 minutes. That call, oh, I don't want to make that call. Ooh, that podcast, I'm not gonna do it in English. Here we are.
Yes.
Also, it still remains. Everybody's got that voice. Gino told me today, are you gonna do it in English? My God, what if you fail?
Yeah.
And then I go, Gino, shut up. And that's just what I want to tell the viewers or the people listening. Gino, it's the voice in my head that's blocking me all the time or trying to block me. Because if you're being honest, if you listen to your internal voice, it's always trying to block you or stop you from doing something, always with a base in fear. Because that's where it comes from. It's our reptile brain just designed to make us survive. So everything that doesn't feel comfortable is like, no go, don't do it. But if you listen to him all the time, you become a slave. You become a slave of Gino, and that's something that we don't want. So just to come back on Gino, every morning I tame him. I take ice baths or cold showers depending on the season.
Yeah.
But that's the first moment of the day. I get out of my bed, I jump into ice cold water or in an ice cold shower, and that's the first moment in the day that I say, "Hey Gino, go yourself."
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, because it needs to. You need to make a first step somewhere, huh?
Yeah. Taking the first step, taking action is the most. Becoming better 1% every day. They call it Kaizen in Japan. I think it's a very beautiful philosophy. It takes you away from looking into a brick wall, because if you sum up all the points that you want to improve in your life, you've got a wall in front of you going like, I'm not going to start that. Mm-hmm. Start by laying the first brick. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to look within a year or 2 years, and you will see there's a wall that you built. But start by laying the first brick. Take action.
Things that you described are obviously based on lots of the experiences you got under pressure. So in a way, everybody can can imagine the pressure you were under. Mm-hmm. I don't think too many people know the pressure they are under. We're all under pressure because of all the things happening. But were there, in the course of those 20 years, were there moments where you, obviously afterwards, you reflected on it, and then, but were there in those 20 years moments that you thought like, oh, this is a learning moment about, for example, decision-making under life-threatening stress?
It's definitely a growth process. I've got a lot of cases where afterwards you draw lessons from, but I think one of the most valuable lessons that you learn is the exposure to stress. Okay. Stress is something that you can get comfortable with. You get to know your own stress reactions, and still till today, we train a lot on that. Just to get back onto your question, we train a lot on that. So apart from all the specific settings, when you get to an operational situation where things can go wrong, or we got a shooting or something like that, where stress levels peak, it is very important to train it, be proactive on that. So when we train with our people, when we train with our teams, we subject them to extreme situations, to make stressors bigger, just to prepare them when they get it in real life, that they deal with it and that they cope with it. And it's also it's mindset. One of the most important things over there is seeing things objective and seeing things for what they are. I will explain it. When we have to enter with a team into a building, and you know for a fact that there are people waiting inside who have arms, who have explosives, and had spoken out the intention, if anybody of the police would come in, we're going to kill them all. That is the situation that you're working in. And then you have to move your team inwards into that house. I think people who are not trained, because they're not special people, they're just flesh and blood with the same program that we got, but we adjusted the program. So instead of thinking, because what would be logical if you would be in front of the door with that team, or the first man who has to go in, what would be a logical ID?
You can go first.
I'll go first. It was the contrary. In our team, they were fighting to be first. It was a place of honor to go in first.
Wow.
So you have to be paying attention to that as a team leader, how you make your team too. But just to get back on that objective part, it was just the mindset of, if you let Gino, if you let Gino run, what would happen? Okay, the door is going to go open. People are going to get shot. People are going to die. What happens when you tell yourself that? It starts. You get physical reactions. You're going to start sweating. Heart rate will go up. Your breathing will go up. Capacities will go down. And then you have to make a decision. It won't be a good decision, or not your best decision.
Yeah.
So what do we learn is to look objective to every situation. And this is something, if you draw the lesson from that world, you can use it in your world too, in everybody's world, in the normal world. Look at it objective. We are at a door. We are the best trained team that we have. There might be some resistance. Is there resistance now? No, we are all breathing. We are ready. We got the best equipment, best trained. We got the element of surprise. And we are going in. First phase. Door opens, success. We go in. Everybody moves. Even we take it to that level that people get trained when you get shot, that the first aid that you apply is on yourself. As long as I am able to work on myself, I'm engaged in the battle, I'm engaged with my mind, and I'm not bailing out. We keep people engaged in the fighting. We keep them rational. It's not because you're bleeding that you're dying. It's just a hole. It's plumbing. We can fix it. We can fix it. And that's the mindset that you can see. We once had a case, it wasn't with shooting, but somebody with opening the door. I'm not going to tell about tactics and stuff just for security reasons, but somebody got seriously injured at the front of the door. Yeah, one of the team got seriously injured in front of the door by opening while the breaching, while we were going inside. He got terribly wounded, but still at that time, the team keeps functioning. The mission continues. Somebody takes care. There's a medic who takes care of the person that's injured. Everybody goes through. You're programmed. You're programmed like that to be high performant, to be objective in everything you do. And if you look at yourself these days, if something is holding you back or if something's stressing you out, 9 out of 10, it's something that's not true. It's a story that lies in the future. That's not happening now. I heard the news when I was coming over here on the radio, the codes that we have these days to sketch the environment and the temperatures, that it's code orange and code yellow, and the way they say it on the news, it's like the world is ending.
Yeah, you're right.
They're trying to frighten people all the time. Stay objective. What's wrong? Okay, it's 31 degrees outside. So, nothing's happening.
Yeah.
I think if we can implement that as a lesson that I drew from there, being objective is one of the most important things for people who have to make speed decisions when you don't have certainty in life. Just look at the objective facts. Take a step back. That's also an important one.
Yeah.
Take a step back, breathe. Give your brain the space to think.
Yeah.
And then just look at the objective facts before you act.
Mm-hmm. I want to throw in a question hearing this. So, what I always ask when I do something for companies, I ask about how much they train. And then they tell me they have 2 or 3 seminars in a year and a team building weekend and ratata. Where what I do not understand is if you compare sports with companies and we talk high level.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we talk high level sports, high level companies,
Mm-hmm.
where you have high level performers. Huh? That's how they want to be called in companies. Huh? Okay. What I do not understand is when you look at the high level sports, men and women, they train more than they play games or ride races or whatever you call it. And in companies, these are also these are the most talented people, huh? Like if you look in tennis, how much they train to have a new serve or a serve because of the other one has a very good anticipation, whatever. Yeah. They train weeks because, in companies, they barely train. And just to come back to your point, when you are in front of a door and you need to bust in, obviously you train, you do this, it's all, every step that can be made is at least rehearsed before.
Yeah.
Because you will do it under stress because you don't know who's behind the door.
Mm-hmm.
And then because you trained, it can still work.
Yeah.
So do you understand where I want to go?
Absolutely. I will reflect on that too, because you can't plan every step.
No.
You need flexibility too, because if you program everything, then you lose your flexibility, and that's not good.
Yeah.
What we train for is to give them a backpack or a toolbox, if you will, full of situations that we've trained. And at least in every operational situations that they come, they will draw lessons from one of the trainings, because that's something that's programmed in the brain. When you get under stress, your capacities will go down and your brain will look for the fastest way for a solution that he drew from the past. I've been here before. That's the way I'm going to solve it. So if you got a few of those samples, because if you train enough and you got a lot of situations in your backpack, you see it when you become experienced too. Because when I was my first year as a team leader, and then after 10 years being a team leader, all the situations that you got, your reaction is different because of the experience, the training, the operational settings that you got where you drew lessons. So when we look to companies, I got a very fun exercise on that. I call it red cell. I didn't invent it. It's something that's used a lot in military background. What is a red cell is and you can use this in your company or in your private life, no matter what. Mm-hmm. You can even make a checklist of it if you leave on holiday to France with your car, no matter. What is a red cell is that you're going to find the flaws in your system and you train on them. How do you do it? Is you look at your business or at your trip that you're planning or at your family situation, and you think of the most gruesome things that could happen to you at that moment. Let it be, if it's a company, I take the CEO, the CFO, and senior management. I don't know, 3 people. I put them in a car and I put them in a car crash. So where's the company tomorrow or the next hour? How are we gonna react? Okay. Same in accountancy. An example in accountancy. One person who has the key to an accountability program, but which retains certain important information. Tomorrow he gets sick or he leaves or he has an accident. What's gonna happen? Oh, he's the sole one who knows. Oh, is there no double? Does anybody know what he has from Intel? Just to give you a small example, if you do it, and it can be extreme. In our case, it was from how many people will attack, what kind of weapons do they have. They will throw everything at you that they have, put them in extremes and test it. And it's the same for companies. No matter what business you're in, just try geopolitical. Test yourself. What if Trump tomorrow decides, I don't know. But what if? What if all the electricity goes down and you got a company whose production is very high and you need to keep it up, or it costs billions to shut it down and to restart? What happens? What happens if the main technician is not available? Do we have a system to get it back on rails? You see, that can be an exercise, and it's very fun to do with people, especially in companies, when you take them from maintenance to the CEO, you put them all together at the table, and sometimes very fun to see that sometimes people from maintenance will find a better answer than the CEO. Put everyone at the table. It's better to think with 13 than one person who thinks he knows it all.
Yeah.
And those are, prepare yourself. Proactiveness is one of the most important things in life.
Yeah.
Being proactive.
But in a way that it doesn't become chasing the ghosts, huh?
No.
Yeah.
No. Again, the thing that I said, being realistic and objective.
Yeah. You said.
We are here today, nothing's happening. But if this and this and this might happen, okay, you're programmed for it. It might be a very stupid example, but I'm going to take you into my mindset for a few minutes, if you allow me.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
I used to be a medic in my team too. Everybody got a specialty. So that means that you got an extensive medical training too. But you draw lessons from that. Lessons that you can use in the unit, but you can also use when I leave here and I go home and I see a car accident, people are hurt. You got a skill set at that moment. It would be very sad if I couldn't apply those skills. So I always got a bag in my car with a certain set of equipment in there so that I can apply my skill set to make a better outcome if I see an accident. Very stupid example, but it's proactive. My wife always laughs with me. You taking that bag again? I said, one day you won't laugh. I hope the day never comes.
Yeah.
But I'm prepared. Am I afraid? No, hell no. I'm not afraid. But if it happens, I want to be able to act.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean with being realistic on one side, but being proactive on the other side. You are prepared, not afraid.
Nice. So for you, one of the things to not be afraid is being prepared.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it gives you a solid ground. If you got a reference that you know from your past, from your background, just prepare that. You can't prepare for everything in life. Like I had with my son.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do? You can't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to pull yourself together, trying to be there for your wife, trying to be there for your son. That's the only thing that you can do at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
But certain things, especially when we look at operational settings in companies, that you can prepare. It takes the stress out of the equation.
Yeah.
It takes the stress out of the equation of a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. And in a way, that's what I mean with training, huh?
Yeah, that's the training.
Because with training, I don't mean that they need to run around the company.
That's another thing because being the physical aspect, I think is quite important too. But everybody has to decide for itself. But what I'm convinced of, especially when I wrote it a lot in my diary. That's one of the key aspects that always returns when I'm in a state of high energy and when I'm physically okay. I accomplish a lot of more things.
Yeah, well, I think there's two things that help self-courage is obviously that you're competent and that you're fit.
Yeah.
Once you feel that, it's easier to feel confident for whatever comes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Maybe a side question, but it sounds and it looks like you changed quite a lot between the person you were in those 20 years and then let's say now.
Yeah.
What if does that do something with your family?
Absolutely. I think if you would ask my wife especially, and I see it, children won't say it because my oldest son is 18, but the two smallest children, they are 4 and 6 now. With the youngest ones, I really see it in their behavior because dad was missing all the time. And now you're seeing that they're more affectionate towards me. They are comforted. They come and give me hugs. For my wife too, I'm a part of the family now.
Yeah.
I'm a part of the family. When my son goes and play a soccer game, I'm there to watch.
Yeah.
In the past, I maybe went once, but then I had 2-3 phones. I was always busy. I wasn't at the game.
Yeah. No.
I wasn't at the game.
Yeah.
Now, I still work a lot. I work, if you would look to it in hours, I work more.
Yeah.
I love it, but I'm at home. And if I say I want to be at the soccer game of my kid, I will be there.
Yeah.
With my full attention.
Yes, that's the point. You're there with your full meaning.
My phone goes down and I look at the soccer game.
Yeah.
That's the same at home. If we look at it with the children, and when you look at it objective, and I think a lot of people can relate to this, especially when you're very busy. Your children get home from school. It's 4:30, 5 o'clock, and with small children, they go to sleep. Let's say 7:30, 8. That's like a time window, max 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
You've been busy all day, and you're probably going to be busy at night too. What does it take to take 1 small hour, go and sit down on the table, play a game, or just listen to how their day was, reflect on certain things, give them things, give them principles, small principles. When they're small children, if they're bigger children, you can give them lessons. I think that's, for me as a parent, one of the most important things. It's not always the easiest way, but I like to give them some backbone and give them some lessons in life, some philosophies, some principles to stick by.
Yeah. Because, for sure. Because also, I think in a job like yours, we shouldn't underestimate the life your wife is living, because every time you leave the door, she's not sure she will see you alive back.
Absolutely. I think that's something that's quite underestimated. And I think a big flaw in our organization at those days too. I don't know now.
Yeah.
It's just my personal point of view. That the partners were not or not enough involved. Because if you don't have a person that's that strong, always taking care of the children, because if you get cold, 2 o'clock in the night, you pick up your phone, you jump in your boots, and you're gone. You don't talk to anybody. When are you going home?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You're at an operation. You can't take your phone. You can't call. So it's always uncertainty at home.
Yeah.
We had that in the terrorist period. I talk 2015, 2016. It was extreme. It was all over the news. And we were out there every day.
Yeah.
And the uncertainty at home.
I can really relate to this situation personally. So, I mean, you're at your job in a very tight situation and there's coverage on the news. So your wife is listening this on the radio or the television. She hears stuff. And where I can relate is a sprint of, I did run a cycling team, so I was director sportif too. And then at some moment you hear through the race radio, crash.
Yeah.
Swear to God, the very first thing you think, please don't tell my numbers. Please don't tell my numbers. That's what you really think about. Because lots of times it's kind of okay, but sometimes it's very brutal too. But I mean, this is what and for the rest of the day, I felt that for the rest of the day.
That's logical.
That thing, like, and then for sure, if there is a crash and one of your guys is down, then
then it begins.
Yeah. And that is, not that it's so special, but Anne made it a point. She always gave a hug before the race to everybody. And that was joked about till somebody asked me, like, but why do you do this foolish thing? I said, do you know that I'm running a show where I'm not sure the guys will come safe at home tonight? And most of my guys were in America and Australia. So because I said, also, if something goes wrong with the kid, I will be the person that needs to call mom over there. Huh? And I think a lot of times we are so used in the running of the day that we're not even thinking what can happen. That doesn't mean it should make us scared.
Nope.
But it's what you said, objective, reality.
On the other hand, I think it's a very good point that you're making there, because it was the thing that I said in the beginning of the conversation. Life is certain. That's what people think. I'm going to do it tomorrow, or when I retire, or I'm going to do that next week. I have to work now. I have to do this now. Now, this is more important, because tomorrow always comes. Until it doesn't. Because there's only one certainty in life. There's one point that is fixed in my schedule, is death. The date is not fixed, but death is coming. That's certain. So that's why we have to live. And that's what I think is important for everybody, that you focus on not being afraid, because if it comes, it comes. Hey, make sure that you live the full life. Live now. That doesn't mean you don't have to work and we're going to put flowers in our hair and we're gonna dance in the rain. But you have to work, but do it from a starting point where everything is in line with what you really want in life. Because you can work very hard. And I don't believe in work-life balance, to be honest.
No.
I believe in life. There's no work-life, there's life.
Yes.
And if you want a certain liberty to do things, then you have to work for your money. And if you can earn your money in an honest way, which you can inspire people and help people, for me, that's on track. That can be something different for everybody, but make sure that it's in line with what you want, your values, where you want to go.
And in all the interviews I've done here and in all the talks I have had with other people, as soon as you can do something with your full commitment, it will mean something to somebody. Absolutely. Obviously to yourself, but also to others. And that is because that's in a way why I wanted to write the book Break Out of the Golden Cage. Same with the interviews I do now. It's because that makes us run. And that makes other people want to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Because happiness, one, that's for everybody different.
Absolutely.
And it's different in different times of your life.
Absolutely.
Because in the beginning, it's the me story, you. Then you become a partner with somebody, then it's a we story. Then you get kids, that's a bigger we story.
Absolutely.
Then you work in a team. Everybody works in a team. Then the we gets even bigger. And then you come to a point where you can inspire more people. Then it were the story. But and the more you can do something that makes yourself happy, is good for because a little bit ago in the interview you said when you talked back or you look back at the team you were in, that some of the guys also quit or were not as happy anymore. You might the way I observe it is, how far off am I when I say, well, I think that you were such a leader that for some, although they do also hefty things and very careful things, but they needed somebody like you to inspire them or to make them feel more safe, so that the moment you were not there anymore, that was just that little part that was missing for them?
I think that's a bit pushing the boundaries. I think even if it, when you look at that team, everybody's got a function. You got a team leader. I call it working with specialists.
Yes.
There was no real ranking or a team leader had to make some decisions at some times, but I call it functionalities in a team. But it's the team that does the work.
Yes.
And the team is like all different cogs into the big engine.
Yeah.
And if you take one out, it starts falling apart. And that's something that we saw now. It always goes, it's like seasons, it goes up, down, up, down, up, down. That's the same that you see in those kind of teams. If you take an experienced team and you got a lot of guys leaving at the same time, you need to establish a new team, and it goes again with trial and error because a lot of experience is gone that you can't translate at that moment because you don't have the time to train. And that's not because we don't want it, but that's a budget problem.
Yeah.
To be clear. Yeah, we don't have the budget to get more people in.
Yeah.
That's a reality.
Yeah.
So you don't whine about it, you just continue. But the logical effect is that you go up and down and up and down. So if you look at the team now, you got a good cohesion again. But it's the same unit, but it's another team. And I think of those guys from that team at that time age, we got thrown apart. And that, as a matter of fact, it's losing your identity. That's one thing. It's losing the team. And then you have to find yourself again. And if you don't want to take the jump, or you don't dare to take the jump at that time, that's when the problems start, I think.
Yes, I totally understand that, but I think now you were aiming more on what all the abilities, the skills, and the competences were of the guys you make the team with. But I wanted to go more in the direction, there is some in a team, to me, you need certain personas as well. So obviously you need all the abilities you need. Let's say you have them. Okay. But then also you need some personalities.
Absolutely.
Because you're under stress. For example, all my teams I've worked with, I made sure I had what I called inside. I would only tell them later. I always made sure I had a clown.
Yeah.
Do you understand that?
Absolutely.
Because this is the guy or the girl, the moment we're all scared to death, that will come with a sentence where that person might be as scared or more than the others, but he come with a sentence that you guys all mentally can reload.
Absolutely.
Do you understand?
Yeah, completely. I'm on track with that. Yeah.
And also with that leader, I give you an example on that in sports. In sports, you have the three always in your team. Go to any team, good teams that perform on the moment they need to deliver. Because top sport is not he can deliver, he needs to deliver. You guys, you needed to deliver. You had to bring the bad guys down or in.
Yeah. The must.
That's what we pay you for.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So, but then you need the three, and the three are: you need a captain, you need a leader, and you need a joker. And the captain, that's the guy that knows everything.
Yeah.
And the leader is the guy that says we go left at some point that nobody knows what we're going to do now. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's making, and nobody is thinking about, is he right? Should we do that? Do we need to talk? No question. Bam.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Absolutely.
And as you were talking about, I think, and obviously it would be cocky to think that you were irreplaceable,
Mhm.
but I think that is still underestimated what leadership under very high pressure is.
I'm gonna take that hook. I think that's a very interesting one, because you said, I'm not saying that you should be irreplaceable. I think that was one of my points where I started from, being replaceable. Because if you got a high performance team, imagine that we're going into a house, you go in with 15 people, and I, as team leader, get shot at the first moment. Bam.
Yeah.
Then what?
All tactics through the window.
Yeah, we stop. It's like the turkey farm. Everybody's running around.
Yeah.
That's what I always wanted. I wanted to empower people. And I think it was my leadership, my style of leading, if you call it leading. Yeah, well, I was part of the team. I don't want to take all the credits, definitely not. But it was my style of empowering people, let them think for themselves. I wanted, like you said, there were jokers in the team. I think I was one of them. There are people who got a role to play as a mentor. When we got new people coming in, I've got guys in my team that were the best mentors that I can imagine. You didn't have to ask them anything, but they were occupied with that, making new teams or team lead team members great. But also, the most important thing is making people grow at that moment, being independent. I think that's, and also having the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
I always wanted, when I had guys in the team, I want them to be very straight, bold, and honest with me. It's a mirror. If I make a decision, I'm not going to say in the crisis situations, like you say, they rely on you.
Yeah.
They know you got everything into the equation, and you go ahead, and they will follow you. They won't argue there. But in daily life in the unit, when we're working, because we're always adapting, we're doing exercises, we're training, adapting new tactics. In those situations, I had a view on it, but I always wanted other people to give, what do you think about it? Am I right now? Even if I made decisions concerning private situations in the team, I always ask the other team member, what do you think? Think I'm right here, or am I lacking something, or is there something I'm not seeing? That was the power of the team. Everybody has its role, but it worked as a unit. If you pull one out and you put another one in, the culture stays. The principles stay, the methodology stays, just the people who are different.
Yeah.
And that's something that's very strong if you can obtain that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In how do I need to see training, or whatever you call it? What can you fill us in with? How did you do that? What was that really training, or were you sit down like in a classroom, or?
No. Training was always in the field, playing as realistic as possible. Just taking the live bullets out of the gun. That was we tried. Even in shooting ranges, we worked next to each other with live ammunition. Accidents did happen in the past by training at those levels. But it's something you have to do. You have to push the boundaries every time. So we played it as realistic as possible. It's not play, it's training. We make it as realistic as we can. You have to push it, always that limit. Because if you put everybody down in a classroom and you start drawing on a board, that's, for some purposes, it's good. When we always did debriefings after every operation you had, good or bad, there were always debriefings, always. That's being critical on yourself. And then you can use a whiteboard, everybody, and then you can work on something. But even then, when you get to a new solution for a tactical situation, after we got the solution, we're going to train it outside again.
Okay.
We're going to test it again. the red cell I told you.
Yeah.
We got a new tactic that we want to apply. Okay, we're going to test it from every side, turn it inside out, and try it to make it fail.
Wow. Try to make it fail.
Try to make it fail. That's the objective. That's the objective of making a red cell. You take some guys of the teams. You got one objective: make us fail. Go for it.
Wow.
And that you can use everywhere. It's a principle.
No,
it's a principle.
In a way, as I say, I think for every company or organization, there is a competition as well that has a lot of similarities with running a team or life-threatening organization, like life-threatening organization. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. But with the people that you recruit too, if you got something, if you're a company leader or a sports team leader, and you got your right hand, that has to be somebody that, if I say something, make sure that I'm wrong. Say that I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Make sure that I'm wrong. Try to make me fail. Yeah. Not in the realistic situation, but if I'm thinking of something, it's his job to turn it inside out, twist it, to look at it, to see if it's correct what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's very easy to draft sheeps. If I say something and everybody goes, bah, that's easy.
Yeah.
But for your ego as a leader, if somebody's saying, hey, that's not the way to run, you have to be mature enough to say, okay, no, the thing you said, I don't have all the answers. Okay, yeah, you're right. We're going to apply it that way.
Yeah. But that's a high level of commitment also of the entire organization, to allow that.
Absolutely.
Because in a way, it's the same with working with talent in general. One of the points why we call this or this person a talent is because that person is wired a little bit different than the average.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we make way too many times the mistake by then approaching that talent also like all the others, the average, with the excuse like everybody is equal.
Mm.
No, everybody is not equal.
That's right. That's right.
You know, we need that talent to make the next step.
Absolutely.
With all the other guys or girls, you know? And
Absolutely.
So a question I have on that, like, how do you recruit that?
We don't recruit talent. We recruit discipline and consistency. Because
to me, that's also part of a talent. But anyways,
I think it's more of, you can discuss on that. For me, it's more of a mindset. If you're disciplined
you're right.
and you're consistent in everything you do and you want it, if you want it hard enough, because that was the thing that never made me quit. Remember when I told you about the hike that I made and that I failed? The pain was so hard that I never wanted to quit again. The why was hard enough so I can put the discipline inside and consistency. Because discipline is one thing, but consistency is another thing.
Exactly.
But if you look at the teams, we didn't draft talent because everybody was tested, especially when you get your base courses and your training. Everybody has a certain skill set that they need, that they were tested. If it's driving a car at high speed velocity, is it working with arms, is it in breaching, is it, I can go into details. There are different skill sets needed in a team. But I think, again, it was the team performance. There was no clear hierarchy, I would say. There were only functionalities and everybody was a specialist. So the clue was, as a team leader, when you got a certain operation, when you know, let's say, hypothetically, I've got a guy, they want him in France. He murdered a few people. He's driving a BMW M4 high-speed car. He knows how to drive. They don't know where he lives, so we have to take him in public. You have to take him while driving his car. At that moment, you know in your team that you got a few good pilots. Everybody knows how to drive a car. You get tested on it. You know how to drive fast. You go on Circuit of Solder to learn how to drive high velocity. But then you see talent. Some people go to those courses and you see, God damn it, that's a driver. And that's a specialty. And having that talent is one thing, because we got very good drivers. But the second thing is, okay, now we're going to put him into an operational situation. Is he going to maintain the same standard when he's under stress and under pressure? That's a whole other ballgame. That's a whole other ballgame.
Oh, yes.
But after a while, even with young team members, I give them the opportunity. You have to have confidence and taking some margin in making trial and error. Otherwise, nobody will grow in operational settings because you train, and at a certain level, you go to the young guy, hey, you take him, you put him on the wheel. He goes, what's going to happen? Operational situation. Be calm, relax. You got an experienced team leader, experienced guy behind it, even an experienced driver behind him to coach him when we're busy. And that's how you make people grow. You give them the confidence to, and you give them the environment where they can make those flaws without getting cut their head off. Okay. And that's how we discover talents along the way, because at some time, once you have the basic training, they train in operational settings, they work operations, and you see the skills coming off at certain time. You got guys who are very good at that. We got good medics, we got good drivers, we got guys who are very good at shooting. They become a fire supporter or a sniper. Everybody's got his talents. A dog handler. Just to say a dog handler, that's a talent.
Yeah.
And that's what makes the power of that team. Yeah. You need everybody in that team.
Yeah.
And everybody has its role to play, and that's the beauty of it. If you see that everybody plays its role and everybody is playing at high standards, the outcome you get is wonderful. I think that's the same coming from a sports background. If you see that everybody in your cycling team does what's intended to do that day, those are the most beautiful things that come out.
Exactly. And then most of the times you get good results.
Yeah.
Cedric, wonderful. Thank you so much for this nice conversation.
It was my pleasure. Really, thank you.